All right. It's Casual. I hope you all heard the music coming in. I didn't. I don't know why that is. I can never hear it. But anyway, tonight we have musician Lucas Warford on the show, which we've been waiting to get him on for a while. He's been busy. And I am so glad to have him on tonight. And he hasn't arrived yet, but hopefully Damion Poitier will be here a little later on to tell us about his acting and stunt work in Hollywood. Without further delay, I would like to bring Renee, my co-host, up, and my producer
Hello.
and the glue that holds me together. And we have a video that came in, didn't we?
We do. And this video references somebody. Do you want to talk about who it references?
Yeah. Again, he says it in the video. Chip Kopp who was a guest on our show a little while back. Likes to rescue animals. He is in Montana, and he likes to rescue animals. And some of the animals that he rescues are raccoons. And so he has raised a few raccoons for short periods of time, and then re-released them out into the wild. And one of them, named Binky, sent us a video. I don't know how, but he sent us a video, and he was cute, but he was concerned about being released back in the wild. And evidently, from the video we're about to see, he has been actually, in fact, released into the wild by Chip Kopp.
He has already been, because sometimes they go back into the wild. Let's see what he says anyways.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is Binky. Look at me, my paws are all raw. I'm out in the wild. Chip Kopp took me in and treated me really good, and they let me out in the wild. Oh my God, it's a jungle out there. Boy, I think I got pink eye too.
Ooh, pink eye.
I just want to say thank you, Chip Kopp, for nothing. You give me a taste of the high life, and you took me out in the wild. And look at me, I'm a mess. So if anybody out there wants to, adopt a raccoon before I get killed out here, just tell Rory Penland or Renée Yaworsky. Thank you. Go.
Aw, that's, my heart goes out to Binky.
So yeah, obviously we feel bad for the little guy, and he's thrust back into a situation that he's not accustomed to anymore. So if anybody is watching the show, any of our fans watching the show and wants to adopt Binky, bring them to their home, please send us a short little video, and hopefully we'll find him a nice little home and he'll be safe.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's right. So anyone who wants them, just maybe under a minute or so, just send us a little quality content, as Keith Cutts calls it. And maybe we can even play one at the end of the show. You just never know. We can make dreams happen, right?
If it happens during the show, who knows? Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
It's best to send it to Renée Yaworsky. Send it to her Facebook.
Send it, DM me if you want to adopt Binky. Yeah.
There you go. And then if she gets the video, she'll let me know, and if we get it before the end of the show, maybe we'll run it. If it seems legit to us. So
it has to be legit. That's the thing.
Okay. So I am hoping again that Damion will show up during the show. Usually our guests show up before we start the show.
And he has just walked in. Yes, I
awesome.
see him in the green room. Yes, I see him in the green room.
Well, we told Lucas he was going to go on first, so let's go ahead and bring Lucas up.
All right. Everybody knows Lucas Warford. We love him. So great.
And Lucas, I was blown away by your performance on SDF. I watched a performance of you late one night a few months ago on SDF, Socially Distant Fest, and I was just like, wow. I really, really dig your stuff. So if you could, please, for the people who haven't seen you perform, can you please start us off with a song?
Well, I wake and feel a fellow of dark.
Across the fields and feed the lilies. Sway to the cease their shift. Violence, evening's evil cold. Oh, now, come now, landlord, fill your cup. Cause in the morning, you'll be sober. Oh, prettiest girl is the one you love the lost. The shiny spoon is the one you're seeking sweet from. Ooh, black dog. Ooh, black dog. Well, ooh, black dog. He's hanging around my window. Well, now, said the shadow to the man. Oh, now let you see me so wonder. But don't you think too hard? No, don't you think too long? Oh, these thoughts they will rise and pull you under. But I said, shut your mouth. Oh, you shut your mouth. Yeah, you shut your mouth. Shut your mouth and say, ooh, black dog. Say, ooh, black dog. Sing, ooh, black dog. Quit hanging around my window. Well, now. Now said the man to the shadow, wow, you be not proud, some call you mighty. Oh, can't you feel my pull? How it's on your neck? Oh, you feel I'm the only reason that you're breathing on by. I pour my cup, but I lay you at the bottom of the field to feed the lilies, and I be singing. Black down. I say, ooh, black down. I say, ooh, black down. Quit hanging around my window. Well, I said, quit hanging around my window. Oh, I said, quit hanging around my.
Oh man, oh man. The first thing I got to ask you out of the gate is, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35. You look much younger.
Thanks.
Because when I first saw you doing videos, I thought, oh, he's probably in his mid 30s. But then I started going back over your Facebook posts, and I'm like, wow, he's much younger than that, I think.
No way.
So okay, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Writing and singing.
I'm 57, so that's a good thing. When did you start playing music?
I mean, I grew up in a musical family. I didn't really get around to getting obsessed with music until I was about 15 or 16. I definitely grew up with music around, but my family wasn't like forcing it into my hands at a young age or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. What would you actually classify your music that you're doing now as?
Anyone ask me that question, I usually slowly back away.
Sorry. But no, Renee and I we're talking about it's rhythm and blues, but your spin on it is very unique. So
yeah, I mean, I think, people, if you're watching who haven't seen me before, I don't often perform by myself. I'm part of a band called Three for Silver that has a lot of different people who come and go in it. And it is certainly inspired by a lot of different types of roots music. I grew up in a family that played American folk music, blues, bluegrass was around me growing up. That swing, these were the things that I was hearing growing up. Certainly the band is informed by these, but we just try to do our own thing with it, and not play it like it's museum music, but it is a tradition that is still alive and evolving today.
Again, when I first heard you play, I mean, like Squirrel Nut Zippers came to mind, Leon Redbone, a lot of people who've taken the music and kind of made it their own.
I like all people. I love Leon Redbone. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that came to my mind the minute I first saw you.
Thank
you. You have an impressive collection of masks on your wall. When you perform, you're usually performing in a space where you have these masks behind you on the wall.
That's true. That's true.
And can you tell us more about that? That's an interesting hobby.
Yeah. I was kind of bummed out because that space is not set up for streaming right now. And we've been actually able to get back on the road again and play some shows. So in the middle of pandemic, I was doing a ton of streams from there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I got it all set up, and it was a nice excuse to use those masks for a change, because honestly, most of them come from when I was a kid. I got obsessed with masks, and I don't even know. For quite a number of years, I would get my hands on one whenever I could. So the vast majority of those masks actually accrued like as a child, and I've just held on.
And you held on to them, child at heart, man, just like it should be. Can you play another song for us?
Oh boy, I bet you I can. Do you want to hear?
Yeah.
Let's see. You want to hear a fast, a depressing song, or a slow, depressing song?
I would like to hear a fast, depressing song. That would be interesting.
Okay, cool. Let's see what happens. That first one that I played is Black Dog. That's like one of mine. Here's a song I've been playing a lot recently, and they didn't tell me I had to only play originals, so whatever. This is
no, you can do whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with.
What I've had on my mind a lot recently. It's by a great Australian songwriter by the name of C.W. Stone King. Yeah, let's see what happens. By the way, anybody out there who's wondering what the hell it is I'm playing, this is not a guitar. It is a 5-string bass, if you haven't seen me before. So, yeah, just to orientate your mind there.
I roll like thunder, flow like dynamite. Oh, flesh and bone I come, not death all by my side. In from the storm I wander, his breath is down my tongue. Oh, the thing I've done. I took my chances, took what chance I got. Lord knows my hands is tied, they're all burned with ancient blood. How it floods my mind with images, blinding as the sun. Oh, the thing I've done. I can't tell my future, I can't tell my past. Lord knows his hands is tied, it's what makes its journey its task. How it weighs down upon me on the run. Oh, the thing I done, the thing I done where the band is playing in the electrical light. But I am all at sea away under the shade of that dark night. And I never had a dream. I'm come bound to war, bound to war. the thing I done. Oh, the thing I done. Wow, the thing I done.
Oh yeah. All right. Now you're playing the 5-string bass there, right? Do you play other instruments as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, on stage, I mostly play basses and a little bit of mandolin, and I grew up playing guitar, upright bass, and I'm pretty handy with a lot of instruments, as are most professional musicians.
Yes. I actually saw you play mandolin the night that I watched you on SDF a couple of months ago when I first saw you. I've actually seen you 2 times since then.
Oh, cool.
How did the pandemic affect you over the last year and a half?
Yeah, sucked. I mean, it's the worst thing ever. I mean, we were lucky in some ways. We made it through. The band exists. We have tours lined up for next year. So, it could have been a lot worse. But yeah, I mean, I've played music full time since I was about 21, and I've never taken a break. I've never stopped doing it. And
I'm not surprised.
I've never, never not toured for big chunks of the year. And so, yeah, I mean, it was really hard. If you're a full time performer, like figuring out, I was, from this perspective, I can see the positives and things that were good about it. And, figuring out who you are when you don't have those things that you're used to, there's a lot to be learned from that. But if you had asked me 6 months ago or a year ago, I would have just told you, fuck this sucks.
It has been a time of creativity for many who have not been able to get out on the road.
Yeah.
If there was a silver lining, did you write any new songs when?
Yeah, it kind of goes. I usually have a bunch of stuff on the stove, as it were, and then I'll get around to it. And so certainly the pandemic was a great opportunity to finish some things that were lingering and, write some pandemic songs too, as one.
Do you have a pandemic song you can play for us?
Sure. I don't play it on this instrument really, so we'll see how it goes, but whatever. That's one of the things I learned about live streams when I started doing them a lot. It was like in the middle of the pandemic. There were no shows to be played or anything. It was like, oh man, I can do whatever the hell I want. Well, that was one benefit of the live streams. Could play whatever I wanted to, mess up as much as I wanted to, try new material as much as I wanted to. So here was one that was pretty explicitly written about the past year and a half. So,
we had missed the turning point, our angles all out of joint. Roads are turning inward, though we wanted to get out. There's no stream that doesn't bend, there's no road that doesn't end. I tell you things just get away from you. Now I'm singing with the moon and midnight flowers all in tune. Things just get away from you.
This is where my violin player would take a beautiful violin solo. Let's all just imagine that right now. The platonic imagined violin solo is always much better than the actual violin solo.
Well, we thought that we could choose to eat our cake and have it too, but the world will shake you off like so much dust from her shoes. So be not troubled by regret, the worst hasn't happened yet. I tell you things just get away from you. you. See the fire, paint the dark, a conflagration from a spark. Things just get away from you. Things get away from you. Things just get away from you. Things just get away from you. We'll toss a coin for everyone that was lost, and we'd have funds enough to buy ourselves some time. Yeah, die a night for every promise that was broke, and we'd have a rope enough to climb out of this life. Well, it's a story that you've heard, though the lesson goes unlearned. You can know the ending and still think you won't arrive. Just how in spite of this song you will forget me when I'm gone. Things just get away from you. You could hear that lion's roar and still wonder what's in store. Things just get away from you. Things get away from you. Things just get away from you. Things just get away from you. Things just get away from you.
All right. Who would you say your biggest fan is?
My biggest fan? Oh, God, I hope I don't know.
I'm not talking like a crazy stalker fan, but
Oh, well, don't worry. Some of those, too.
actually, the original question was, who's your biggest supporter?
Oh, parents, for sure. I've been very fortunate to have very supportive parents. You know, my dad and my granddad and my great-granddad were all professional musicians at different time in their lives, not for their whole working lives, but for a chunk of their lives. And they all know what it's like. I never knew my great-granddad, but my granddad's still alive. And he's turning 101 next week, so watch out, everybody.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But they all knew what it was like, and they're very supportive of what I do. And my dad, you know, he's a performer. He's always very honest with me, and I really feel like they wouldn't have encouraged me to do it if I sucked at it. So they were always pretty, you know, they didn't have like money or things like that, but hey, you know, like just loving what I do and thinking it was the right thing to do is a big help. And it's better than a lot of people I know have it who, you know, they decide to take an atypical path, and it can become a big problem with their families, things like that, you know. So
Yeah, I always hate to hear that. I mean, you know, if you're happy doing it, you know, I mean, I hate to hear that parents would, you know, chastise their kids for creativity.
Or a common story among
the kind of guy.
Yeah, for sure. Like maybe not, you know, kicked out of the family, but definitely is a point of contention, you know, not something of pride necessarily. So yeah.
Where can we look for you in the future?
Well,
Your future.
you know, we are going to be releasing a Christmas song in December. I know 3 screams Christmas time, if you can't tell from listening to my material here tonight. And we do try to put out a Christmas song every year, usually originals. This year is actually going to be a cover by a Portland. I live in Bellingham, Washington. I lived for many years in Portland, Oregon. And there's a Portland artist by the name of Drew Norman, a.k.a. Professor Gall, who died tragically a few years ago. And his stuff, unfortunately, never got to be very well known. He never really performed much outside of the Northwest. And so we're going to actually record a Christmas song that he wrote that I've always really liked, and it kind of be a tribute to him too, and maybe help some other people check out this musician they probably wouldn't have heard about otherwise. And certainly, as sad to say, nobody else is playing his songs anymore. So that'll be cool. December, check that out. And then we're hitting the road. If you live in the Pacific Northwest, we're playing a lot of shows in January around Oregon and Washington. And then if you live or know anybody who lives in Europe, we'll be on tour in Europe for 3 months.
Wow.
April, May, June. So March, April, May. I don't know.
Where is your tour taking you there?
Mostly Germany and Austria, but also Czech Republic, Denmark, a little bit of Italy. I don't know.
Italy is the bomb. It's my favorite place over there. Watch out in Innsbruck. They do have pickpockets there. I got pickpocketed in Innsbruck.
I've had I love Innsbruck. I spent a lot of time there. Yeah.
So, and my tour guide was like, "Oh, you're the first one. Then people get pickpocketed in Italy all the time, but you're the first one in Austria." I'm like, "Oh, great, thank you. I'm the first." I feel honored. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for playing for us. We're gonna have to get you on the show again soon, hopefully before you're out there touring and you can't join us next week. I don't know if you know Troy Moore and Ivan Basil.
I definitely know Ivan. Yeah.
Yeah. I can definitely see you hanging with those two guys, those two knuckleheads. They're going to be on the show next week, so I will definitely tell them you said hi then. And thanks again for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you're welcome to stay in the green room, watch the show from there, or if you're busy, we understand. It's totally understandable. But we're going to bring Damion up now.
All right, Damion. Look forward to watching your interview. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, man. He's had good things to say about you back in the green room. That's for sure. Our next guest on the show is someone that I knew from around the turn of the century. And he went out to Hollywood, and we're going to talk to him now about how that worked out for him. And let's welcome Damion Poitier.
Hey, how's it going?
There he is.
Been far too long, Rory. It's been far too long, my friend.
It has. I just realized just now at this very second that I did not get the video ready. I did, but I didn't send it to Renee for us doing Thundercats together. I still have.
Oh yeah, you have a copy? Oh, I need that. I'm actually not in that video, right?
I'll send it to you. Huh?
I'm not actually in that video.
You're not?
No, I ended up having to shoot.
In that.
Wait. Did I play? Did I play the?
I was going.
Did I play Mumra?
I thought you were the evil overlord in that thing.
Did I play Mumra? Like the mummy Mumra, right?
I actually got the 3 videos that they did. The Batman thing,
right?
Thundercats,
right?
And Creature Quest.
Yeah.
Creature Quest.
I need copies, bro. You're gonna have to give me some digital copies. That's amazing.
They're like old grainy copies, but
I know. Perfect. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Wow.
But wow. I got to play Snarf.
Right. I remember.
I thought you were in that for sure. I thought you were.
I might have been old Mumra, but I thought, because I know originally he wanted me to play Panthro, but I was like, at the time I was way too skinny to play Panthro. I'm like, I don't have the broadness of Panthro. So I might have ended up actually in there as the Emperor. So I'll have to watch it and go see it and watch it and go, I can't tell if that's me, and we'll move forward.
I'll try to get that to you. and I'll try to get that on the show next week, maybe as a bonus.
Very cool.
You went out to Hollywood around the early 2000s.
Yep, 2000. Actually, it was 2000.
You actually went out there to become a stunt performer, or?
I got into the union through stunts. So the goal was always to go in professionally as a stunt performer, and then segue that into acting.
Okay, let me explain to our audience the difference between a stunt man and a stunt actor or stunt performer. A stunt man, you'll never see them. You'll never see their face.
If you do,
they're usually playing somebody else,
right? Or they're in the background, like they're just people who are around the mayhem.
Yeah. But a stunt performer, a stunt actor, actually plays a character. They actually play a character, and sometimes they even get lines, and they perform stunts in movies and stuff. And obviously, looking at your IMDb, you did a lot of stunt performing early on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that was your backdoor into Hollywood. To become an actor. So when you went out there, you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah, acting was always the intention, and then I got involved in the stunt people here, and they were very welcoming. And I was working on a lot of sets, working on a lot of shows I wanted to work on with a lot of people I wanted to work on. So I kind of got into a nice groove. that was really nice for working and experience and things like that. Not great for career goals, but really good. Plus, I mean, Stunts is it's a wonderful brotherhood. It's a wonderful job, you know, and I don't know. I really only stopped because it was like, okay, if you don't want to coordinate, you know, and you don't have an actor that you're doubling on a series, then you run into a limited amount of real estate on the career. You know, at a certain point, the hits start hurting a little more, you know, things like that. And don't get me wrong, I know guys that are in their 70s that are still day playing.
Wow.
Like there are some serious like hardcore, and it was something I potentially could have done indefinitely, but I knew I had always wanted to do something else, and the stunt opportunities were not as like we started to slow up a bit in terms of I really need to start putting myself out there to get jobs, and I'm like, if I'm going to be putting myself out there, why not do it for acting, which is what I originally wanted to do.
Right.
You know, and but the calls kept coming, and it's like even I had a bucket list gig come up. I had a bucket list gig come up recently that I came out of retirement for. I was like, I got the call, and I was like, oh, I was really trying to, you know, segue out of it. I have some other things going on that are acting that are going very well, and I was trying to segue out of those and stay into the acting realm, but this came up, and I can't say what it is because
I was going to ask you, can you tell us what it is?
I can't tell you what it is. I won't be and if I do my job right, you'll never see me. But it was something where for a very long time, it's something I've wanted to do, and when I had the opportunity, it was like, well, not only are you going to do that thing, but you're going to be working with the person that inspired you to want to do that thing.
Very cool.
It's like you get to stunt double the guy that made you want to do this type of thing. And I was like, so we came out of retirement.
Yeah, there you go. If it's something that you wanted, you know, if it's a dream, then hey, man, go for it. That's what I say.
Yep.
Jarhead.
I like your shirt.
Thank you. I wore this. I actually went back and forth between the Captain America shirt and the Flash, but I really like Goldface. I gotta tell you, I really like Goldface.
Thank you. So you were talking about Jarhead.
Jarhead, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're on there with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jamie Foxx. How tell us some stories about that. How did that happen?
I went in for the audition. When I went in for the audition, I had a full beard and a full head of hair. So they really liked my take, but it was I looked older. You put hair on me, and it puts another 15 years on me. So I didn't actually book the role because it was an acting stunt role, and I didn't book the role because I looked too old. They shaved me up. I went in there. We were doing the scene, and the director walked up. He was looking around. He goes, "Take the lines." On the spot. Mm-hmm. So I went from one of the guys in the background to the role I actually auditioned for.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and then
Renee, do you have the pictures from that?
Sure.
You do have a mustache with that character, right? Oh no.
No. Jarhead was clean. Jarhead was clean shaven because it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's and that they were actually trying to figure out how to carry my character through the whole film.
Oh, cool.
But it was just the fact that it was in basic training, and he went over into. No, that's a different thing.
Oh, okay. All right.
That is actually from Halo.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's from Halo.
I thought. Actually, what I did was I did a search for your name and Jarhead, and that's what popped up.
Interesting. Yeah, that's actually from Halo 2 Remastered. Because as you can see, I look a little older there. That's a digital reproduction of my face. That's not actually my face.
Right, because Halo is
it was CGI. Yeah, that's a CGI version.
CGI show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And okay, well there we go.
Yep.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Again, I wanted to ask you. There's Goldface from the Flash.
Yep.
So, any interesting stories from the set of Jarhead, other than you started out as an extra and boom, you ended up getting a speaking role, and they wanted to make it a sizable role, which is a fantastic story.
Yeah, I wish it worked out, but it wasn't an extra. It was stunt. It was a stunt. It was stunt background. The stunt performer, but ND. Like I was in the background making the general noise and being a general part of the melee. And then, like I said, he bumped me up to a speaking role, and they were trying to figure out, but it just because of the journey of the character, it didn't make any sense to bring anybody from the training regime with him into the throughout the entire film. But it was just a good time. I think we spent about a week.
Well, and again, I remember
yeah.
working with you, in Central Florida here, and you're a very easygoing guy, very nice to work with, very pleasurable guy to hang out with, and that counts for a lot in Hollywood. You really need to be easy to work with. You can't be.
Yeah, well, people seem to. The thing is, you have to at all times have a grounding of remembering that there's someone else that can do your job.
Yeah,
and there's probably someone else that can do your job better.
yeah.
But if you're fun to work with, and you get what they need, and you're easy to work with, you will keep getting called.
Yeah,
regardless of whether or not there's somebody. If there's somebody that's super talented but difficult to work with, and until they have a breakout role and become a star, they're not going to get the call. You are, and the other thing is to remember is we're all people. We're all under pressure. We're all trying to do a job. And different people have different expressions of their difficulty handling whatever stressful situation heads up. So as long as you don't take it personally and say, okay, this person's upset because this is going wrong, not because of me. And if they are upset because of me, they probably don't know me well enough to be that upset with me. So they're upset with whatever they think they're seeing. You know what I mean? You just let it roll off your back and just do the job and just laugh it off and keep moving. So.
I put in the advertisements for the show that you're part of the DC universe, you're part of the Marvel universe, and I realized today you're also part of the Star Trek universe. You were in the reboot movie. What happened with that?
It was funny. I actually got that role. I auditioned. Did I audition for the original Star Trek? I'm trying to remember if I auditioned or not. Yes, I did. So I auditioned for a small speaking role on that, and then I didn't hear anything, and then I got a call from wardrobe. I said, come in for your fitting. I said, no problem. For what? They were like, for Star Trek. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm working on Star Trek. Okay. I was like, sure. And that happens. It's funny. That happens a lot with stunts where there's so many moving parts. Sometimes things don't quite get communicated the way that you would expect them to. And so I got called in by wardrobe to tell me I was doing a role on Star Trek. I was like, oh, fantastic. And I actually got that role because originally they wanted Tanawai, who's The Rock's stunt double. Because yes, I do VO work. He's a closer match for Sala, because they wanted to kind of do with a Maori, like Southern Pacific look for the Romulans that were going to come out of there. Mm-hmm. But he actually ended up getting pulled for a movie for The Rock. So then they were like, well, who else is close to that? You. And then, and then they were they seemed to be very happy with my performance.
Good.
And there was a lot of, I had a lot of fun on that set. And if you actually watch my sequence
about who you were working with on that.
Yeah, everybody was good, man. Everybody was good. Everybody was cool. I got to work with, Chris Pine was very cool, very chill, and Spike Spiegel. I mean, blanking on his name right now. He's playing Spike Spiegel on. All right, you know what? We have the interwebs. I'm going to look him up. Huh?
Okay. I got Zach Quinto.
He played Sulu.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know why his name's. I can remember the characters he plays, but I can't remember his actual name off the top of my head for some reason.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on. That's all right. We have the interwebs. I will look him up.
Yeah, he went on to do a lot of TV work.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Well, he came from if I recall. So wait, did he come from Harold and Kumar, or was he doing TV work into Harold and Kumar and then back into TV work? I'm not sure what the exact. Star Trek 2009. Yep, we'll have him in a second here. Survey says John Cho.
John Cho.
Cho, not Chow, but close, Charlie. John Cho. He was cool, and it was me, Chris, John, and Sala on top of that drill base, and Sala actually played the voice of Sauron in The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so it was cool to work with him. He's awesome. I love Sala. He's a great guy. He's doing a lot. He stays very busy too. So he does stunt work and acting and just wherever, he's all over the place. He's producing now.
Somebody just asked you if you had done VO work. What can we hear? Listen for your voice in.
There's a game called Payday 2.
Okay.
And I play, and there's 4 main heisters on that. It's Wolf. Well, Dallas is the main guy, and then there's Hoxton or Houston, depending on when you play. Wolf and Chains, and I play Chains.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Chains on the IMDb again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and that was a crazy gig. What ended up happening with that was I started off. I worked on just a short film for a friend of mine. Like, he was like, "Hey, I got this cool short film idea that I want to try to I want to try to turn into a series." And I was like, "Okay." So it was called Agent 88, and it was about this. It was the Peter Jackson, the voice of Sauron and Peter Jackson's, and it was yeah.
Right.
So I was doing the short film that he wanted to do was called Agent 88, about a assassin that had a amulet that made them immortal, but she aged slowly. So she was currently physically 88 years old, or looked 88 years old, but still was able to move like a crazy assassin. So she was able to very easily hide as a older woman, to get to her target. So it was really cool. And so I was doing the post work for that, post VO, audio recording stuff that they didn't quite love in the sound mix. And I was in the office of Damion Lichtenstein, who he was director for 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Okay.
And he stays busy, and he was working on this project called Payday, and Payday was a video game that had come out, and it was basically a video game based off the opening scene of Dark Knight. It was 4 guys in masks, clown masks, that were robbing banks. So he kind of the creator of the game, Bo Anderson, took that idea and turned it into a whole video game about this crew that were running around robbing banks and doing stuff like that. So they had just finished the first game, and they were talking about what they were going to do with the property. And Damion wanted to do a movie. And to start off with, he did a web series. And so I was literally in there. I was doing some post work, and names in me today.
It's happening more and more to me too. I'm just like,
really close friend of mine. Yeah,
back in the day, man. You'd say a movie, and I would rattle off a director.
Oh yeah,
the guy.
Went and got
sandwiches.
For certain things will come right away. Other things, I'm like. So Digger Mensch is the one who created and directed Agent 88. And Digger said, "Hey, come on by the facility." So I went by, and he's like, "Hey, go upstairs and talk to Damion." And so I was like, "Okay, which movie have you been looking for you?" "Oh, Wizards. This is the whole side conversation that you guys are having." And thank you, because I want to watch Wizards again too. So he said, "Go upstairs and talk to Damion Lichtenstein." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I go upstairs, and there's a camera sitting in my face, and there's a whole setup, and he hands me some sides and goes, "Read these." And I'm like, "Oh." So I read through the lines, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Nice." And we have a little post lines interview type thing. And then I get a call a couple weeks later. It's like, "Hey, you want to come play this character in this web series we're doing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then so we did that. And then the Bo got a hold of the web series footage, and they were like, "Hey, would you possibly want to, maybe do a little bit of the game VO?" And I said, "Sure." So, I did some of the game VO, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do the whole game?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Hey, can we use your face and just make you change?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then they're like, and then so I did all that. And then it was like, "Hey, we're gonna do some downloadable content. We're thinking about shooting a live action trailer. Would you want to come to Sweden and play the character in the live action trailer?" And I was like, "Okay." And I just kind of spiraled there. Next thing you know, I'm flying to Australia to do a game conference. They're taking me E3 every year, and it was like that game went on for like 10 years.
Yeah.
It was off of a go upstairs and talk to Damion. So it was a crazy 10 years, and they've been I keep in contact with those guys on everything that they're working on, and they're very much looking forward to working with me again for the Chains fans in the crew there, and in the audience. And yeah, so and then I've done a few other video games since then. I've done some other things. Yeah, but it came out of nowhere, and then just spiraled, and it was a wonderful spiraling for me. So
yeah, well, you were the zombie puncher and zombie whisperer, so
yes.
I gotta watch that now just to see what you do with that.
That was pretty much just a stunt gig, so it was it's very little. In fact, I think I came up with a line, and then the director gave it to the other guy, and I was like,
how dare he?
right?
Okay, so the Avengers comes about, and did you get a call for that? I mean, did the fact that you had wore prosthetic makeup before help you to get that? Like, I mean, what happened?
It was super simple. I got a phone call from my agent that said, "Hey, you wouldn't want to audition for a non-speaking role for Avengers, would you?" And I was like, "The fuck, I wouldn't."
Seriously?
Like, stick me in there.
You're yanking my
And it was super simple. They said, I went in the audition room. They said, "Turn around and smile." Turned around and smiled. They said, "Do it like this, do it like that, do it like this, do it like that." Turned around and smiled a bunch of different ways. Went home, got a call a couple weeks later. Never told me what I was doing. Yeah, I thought I was going to be. I thought
you didn't know until you got out of the makeup chair that you were doing Thanos?
Yeah. Found out the makeup chair. Saw a mock-up of him, and then saw some pictures, and I was like, because every time I go to a makeup like establishment, they always have lots of cool stuff around. So I'm always like, looking around. I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, cool." And I literally was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, I saw the Thanos stuff. That's pretty cool." And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I saw it was on on this person." They're like, "Yeah, that was a mock-up." I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, because it's going on you. And I was like, and Rory, you know how long I've been reading comics.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can see comics here behind me.
Oh, yeah.
So I went,
holy.
And I was just like, I was like,
Thanos.
Yeah, and I was like, and of course we all know how that worked out. But at least for that,
we're going to talk about that for a second.
Until Guardians came out, it was
amazing.
amazing.
Talk about your name on your IMDb for that. Man number one. Was that a cheeky choice, or did they say you're going to have to do that? You got to keep the secret.
That's what they chose. That's what they said. They were like, "Yeah, we're not going to, we're not gonna have you be the character, yada yada." So, and the worst part about it for me was what I needed to keep the role required me to reveal that I was the role, and I was contractually obligated not to. So if I had been able to publicize the fact that I played Thanos in Avengers, I would have been able to segue my way into projects that would have made it clear to them that they should keep me as Thanos. But since they didn't say that, I couldn't.
They said no, you can't tell anybody.
Yeah, they said no. They said don't tell anybody you're doing it. Yep, it was complete. Yeah, like even industry wise, like I wasn't telling anybody. Like I kept that. Didn't say anything to anyone. So it was good that I played ball, but it a lot of people wouldn't have in that position.
That speaks to your character. I mean, literally and figuratively. Oh, hey.
My car? Nope. Nope, it's not my car. Okay.
That's another first. That's another first. Somebody's car alarm going off on my show.
It's pretty crazy.
So, obviously, you were crushed when you found out that James Brolin was going to play it when Thanos did show up in the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, did you really hope that it was going to come back for you?
I was hoping I'd at least get a read at it,
Yeah.
I was, what? Let me see if I can do something about that. Let me make sure that's not one of my vehicles.
Okay.
Hold on one sec, folks. Hilarious. Is that our
Renee, can you put those pictures of him as Thanos again?
Yeah, definitely. Let me scroll through them up here. Hold on a second here.
Again, they chose to go with CGI when Josh Brolin did it, but they actually did full out makeup, prosthetic makeup for Damion when he did Thanos.
And we're back.
Yeah. So, that's coming up. We're going to talk about that. That's Civil War.
Yep.
Goldface.
Keep going.
Back. There we go. So
that's the actual
prosthetic.
That's the actual prosthetic. When they actually did some CGI accents to it when it went on screen.
Right.
So, yeah, but that's the actual prosthetic. That's me in the prosthetic during the makeup test day.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you see at the end. In the end credits.
Yeah. You can see the differences. You can see the differences they made.
Yeah.
Mostly the nose.
And that was
you
the
can
smile.
see that.
And that's all you really got was the smile.
Right. That's me on set. Right there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
Were you called in for that because you were great to work with on Avengers?
No, that was actually came through Stunts.
Okay.
And I know, obviously I've kept up with the stunt people, and it was one of those things where obviously at that point I knew Thanos thing wasn't happening, and I was, I had heard that the character I was going to be playing wasn't going to die.
Okay.
Which is, well, if your face is on screen and you die, they can't use you anymore.
Right.
But so it's easier if your character, as that character. Well, yeah, exactly. But it's easier if you're seen and you don't die. So so it was just an opportunity to just go in and play with some friends and do something pretty cool. And actually, in this scene, originally the way the scene was shot, all of us had a nice kind of setup.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, they shot all of us, because remember he said it was a shell game. So the way they shot it was you really couldn't tell which one of us had it, and we all had lines and things like that. And then when they cut it, it ended up just being me, and I was like, oh. Okay, that's wasn't expecting that to happen, but cool, I wasn't expecting to get that much spotlight in that. So that was kind of a
and I forgot
cool
the name
thing.
of the character that you're next to in that picture there.
Crossbones.
Crossbones. You're right next to Crossbones, and he was the character in that scene, the main villain character in that particular part in that scene.
Yep.
So yeah, you lucked out. You right there at his shoulder. I mean,
yeah. Well, like I said, but the other guys were saying stuff too. It wasn't just me when we shot it. Right. And then the way they edited it was just, it ended up being basically, focused on me and him, and everybody else kind of was around. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
There's a lot to. I mean, it really is true. If you have a certain look, the directors want that certain look, and there's a look, and
there's a presence as well. There's something about the camera, the camera reacts to you in a certain way, and apparently a few people think I have it.
I'm gonna cut my own throat here, and when I was an extra in movies in Florida here, I got picked a lot to be in scenes. So whether it was charisma or just my look, or just they needed a fat guy, I don't know.
I'd say the first two. I'm going to go with the first two.
All the above. I don't know.
Yeah. First two.
But again, they tell you never admit that you were an extra. Any stories from the Avengers movies, the Captain America?
Just good times. I mean, we funny story for that one. So once again I had to do ADR for it, and it was ADR is audio digital recording, and basically what you do is you go into a studio. There's a huge screen. You're looking at yourself on camera, and there's mic, and you have to match your tone and everything, because they want a cleaner version of whatever it is you said when you were there on the day.
Because there were on the set, right?
Yeah, right. So when I was there, that's my dog. I don't know if you can hear him. So I was
dog, everybody.
Right, his name is Verser. He's in a lot of my pictures. So when I was sitting on set, there was so the director of the sequence is actually Chad Stahelski, the director of the co-director of John Wick, and he directed. Did he direct John Wick? No, I think David Leitch did John Wick too. But Chad Stahelski, who's a pretty well-known director, and he started out as Keanu Reeves' stunt double in The Matrix, and then moved forward to become one of the best-known and most prolific American martial arts fight choreographers and things like that, and now a director. And he's directing it, and he actually cued me himself when he wanted me to say the lines. Mm-hmm. So when I was on ADR, I couldn't figure out my timing on following when I said drop it, and I realized then it was because it wasn't following my natural breath pattern. It was also Damion, and it was an interesting thing to realize. You I've done a lot of ADR, so I'm used to following and figuring out and I couldn't catch it, and I was like, why can't I get the rhythm? Why can't I find my own rhythm here? And I was like, because you're not working off of your rhythm, man.
Can you get the director in here?
No. Can you call Chad back to cue me when he cued me on set? I eventually figured it out, but it was I really couldn't, like, when I was in there trying to do it, I really could not figure out why I was having so much trouble doing it until I was like, oh, that's okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Where can we look for you in the near future? I mean, what projects are going on now that you can talk about?
See, there's the rub. that I could talk about.
Everything you're in pre-production, you can't talk about it right now.
I can't. I mean, right now I'm working on a lot of. What can I talk about?
It's good that you're working. I'm very happy to hear that you're working.
I am working. I stepped back. I stepped into the. I can't say anything more than I stepped into the writer's seat for the majority of the pandemic because I didn't want to be out and about in the world.
We were talking about creativity during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I stepped out. I started writing on that's all I'm gonna say. You will find out more about that in April.
Okay. Oh, we haven't talked about Goldface. This is my favorite character you've done.
Oh, thank you.
The last episode that you were with the love story was very cute. I mean, that was very cool, very funny. Are we going to see more of Goldface, do you think, on CW?
I would say probably.
Cool.
I would say
probably is better than a no.
I would say most probably you're going to see more of Goldface.
Very good, very good. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yep.
I'm actually going to watch season 7 this week. I haven't seen season 7 this week.
They were talking about me for season 7, but obviously we had some COVID issues.
Yeah,
and nobody was traveling.
Well, yeah, so, and they only did like half a season, right?
They did a reduced season, things like that. It was very. Yeah, they reduced the season for season 7 because of one of the things is with all the protocols, the budget went up quite a bit for every episode, and then in terms of just they had to give themselves time in case somebody got sick, things like that, for shutdowns and things like that. So almost every series that was running during the pandemic got either reduced order or was a 13 episode that got 22 episodes of time to shoot.
Now, they're pretty. They stick close to the comic books on that show. So Goldface is an actual comic book character, right?
Well, they use comic book characters. They don't. Goldface is actually he's Caucasian in the book, and he actually started off as a Green Lantern villain. Oh,
okay, all right.
Yeah, yellow.
I knew you could answer this question. You're a comic book fan.
Yeah. So they crib from the comic book quite a bit, but they don't always stick close to it.
Mm-hmm. In terms I used to be a huge Flash fan. I used to read a lot of the Flash comics, and I don't remember Goldface from the Flash comics. So now you've answered my question.
But he wasn't.
He might have been a rare character that had been written for the show, but I see now
he started off as a Green Lantern villain, and then he moved into the Flash series. He actually was a Flash villain for a while.
Okay.
So it wasn't complete, and he had a relationship with Amunet Black, who's also. So that the whole Goldface Amunet relationship is literally why they brought the character in, because they were like, oh, we want to do something else with Katie. So the whole reason I was on the show was to do the
love story.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, the Valentine's Day episode the next year. Like that was the whole plan. Like, bring this character in so we can do this with him later. And and then they liked what I was doing, so they talked about doing more.
Very cool.
With it. So.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, Lucas together. Renee, do we have anything else before we need to stop the show? And
we do have. I don't know if anyone remembers Binky. Binky, of course, was the raccoon at the very beginning, and so there has been an answer. Somebody actually, I guess one of our fans sent in this. If you want me to play it now, I don't know.
A video.
Yeah, she's interested in adopting him, and so we can weigh in on that. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see.
Oh,
wow. Okay. I'm gonna play it. This is a little interesting, guys.
She's an older woman.
Yep.
My heart was real touched by you, Binky, and I just wanted to tell you that I will adopt you.
Oh boy.
Nobody else want to have your companionship.
Oh great, Binky's got a home.
Okay.
I got a lot of kitty cats that would love to make your acquaintance, Binky.
Okay.
She's a cat lady.
It's a lot of fun over here. It's like a wildlife extravaganza. and you can stay here indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
We have so much fun every day. We got all kinds of good food for you. Come on, Binky. I'll adopt you. Come on, Binky.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, she's looking forward to it.
See you soon, Binky.
She seems like a nice lady.
She seems very confident that this is
She
going to
could
work
handle
out.
it. Yeah, she did.
So, so what do you think? Do you think that Binky should go to her home to live?
I think Damion should make that.
Absolutely. Send
She
Binky
looks
over.
like a nice lady, right?
Yeah, she looks nice. Send over the wild animal. That's fantastic.
All right, folks. Thank you all for watching tonight. Thank you for coming on, Damion. Thank you,
Thank you
Lucas,
for having me.
listening. It was a great show, one of our best. And again, I'm so happy that you guys were able to come on tonight. Good night.
Night.